It's not a secret even though it has been kept secret. It has been attempted to be kept secret. It is not secret. All of the information we need is already here so that we can definitively understand that what's happening to the earth is a naturally occurring process. It is a sacred process motivated by forces of intelligence that would stagger the imagination. Back in the old days, you had a LAN system in which a computer was just a monitor and a typewriter. And you plugged it up to one central computer, and everybody's little dummy terminal, as it was called, was plugged into that one computer. On some level, each of us is the dummy terminal. We appear to be separate. We appear to be an identity that has an ego, that has a body, and we identify with the body. On some grander level, the body is merely a projection. It's like if you have a prism and light is going through the prism, and as it rotates you see these rainbows around the room. And each one of you is one of those rainbows. But would you say that those rainbows are each an individual generator of light? No. The light is generated by whatever is striking the prism. Those individual pieces of rainbow light are just the reflections of the one light that strikes the prism. If you want to really get into the esoteric science and understand what the ancient prophecies are telling us and why it's so relevant to what you're going to hear in this talk, try to vibe into the fact that the entire manifest universe, that matter and energy itself, is but reflections of this one singular light. That all visibility in the universe, everything we can measure, is a reflection into what we think is space and what we think is time. But when you start really understanding what time is, you realize you can go whatever direction you want, forwards, backwards, and sideways. And when you understand space, you realize that space doesn't pose any obstacle if you can pop through to time-space, back and forth from space-time to time-space. You can wormhole yourself or portal yourself or whatever they want to call it from any point in the universe to any other instantaneously. That's how it's done because there is no actual location. Location is an illusion which is based on the rules of the road so that we have one intelligent super being that has wanted to experience multiplicity, that has wanted to experience separation, so that it can reunify. In terms of how that functions in our galaxy, the galaxy is generating intelligent waves, which you're going to see the proof for in this presentation. And those waves upgrade the speed of this time field, or of what I call the source field. The speed of vibration of the source field is going up. If that speed represents how well you think, it's no different than you upgrading your computer and going from this ridiculously bad processor where you could barely even get any of your websites to load because it takes so long, and getting this really fast machine where now every page... Sorry about that. She almost jumped right out of her seat. I'll try to do that a little more delicately next time. Is that better? Okay. So, you broke me out of my trance now. Now I got to actually talk from the ego. How's it going, man? What the hell was I talking about? All right, let's see. We got to get the download back in play here. When we understand that this energy field is part of the galaxy, that the galaxy is a conscious being, the galaxy has energy that must be conscious. The energy that's in the entire universe must be conscious, and it must create life. Life is the divine imprimatur of all energy in the universe. All energy in the universe is built to create life. The physicists call this the Goldilocks principle, and they don't even have a clue as to how far the Goldilocks principle goes. It's not too hot, it's not too cold, it's just right. That's what they're talking about in terms of planets like ours. and how we have just the right amount of oxygen, just the right amount of water, just the right temperature. All these things are perfect. It's not an accident. Life on Earth is not some random little thing that only happens once in the history of the cosmos. Life on Earth is actually programmed to be here because we have to get rid of this idea. Well, we don't have to. I try not to use must and have to because those are very strong words. It would be beneficial to learn that there are forces out there much greater than the human intellect, much greater than the ego, much greater than the body. That there is forms of consciousness that could be an entire planet, that could be the sun, that could be the galaxy, which is really nothing more than a bunch of suns and planets in a big cluster. Well, we can prove that that's going on. So I'm going to start showing you some things here. The first criticism that anyone will have when you go into a 2012 discussion is they say, well, nothing's really that different. Everything's the same. We're pretty much doing the same thing now that we've always been doing. We get a little bit of progress here, a little bit of progress there, but nothing's going on right now. There's nothing unique or special about this time in history, and I beg to differ. This is a picture that you're going to see from the fires in Australia. You may not think of this, but koalas in the wild are actually quite dangerous. They'll claw you and scratch you, and they'll attack viciously to protect their home. But when it comes to these earth changes, this koala was more than willing to accept nourishment and love from a human, a wild koala. He's not scratching, he's not attacking. Now this is the thing that people don't seem to understand. The universe is built to deliver the experiences that are already happening. The universe is not a cosmic comforter that hands you a lollipop when you don't love yourself and says, oh, I'm going to just send you all these people who are going to love you because you don't love yourself, and oh, I'm sorry you don't love yourself. Let me send you loving people. Is that how it works? What happens to you when you don't love yourself? What does the universe send to you? Does it send you a lollipop? Hey, look at that. That person doesn't love themselves. That person doesn't have a high opinion of themselves. I have a puppet now. I can manipulate that puppet. I can make that person do what I want because they are too afraid to go against me. They want to be polite. They have such a low self-esteem that if I tell them something that I want them to do, they're not going to want to upset me. So what the universe actually does is that if you have a weakness, if you have something you don't like, the universe says, oh, you don't like that? Well, here, have some more. Have some more. Until you get to the point that you simply accept experience and accept yourself. And when you learn to accept yourself, you will not be manipulated because you will decide that it's better to preserve your sovereignty than to be manipulated by someone else. You will decide that your state of mind being positive and uplifting is a better state for you to be in than the state you're going to have to go through temporarily to really piss somebody off when they're trying to manipulate you. Because they're going to take it personally, they're going to get angry, they're going to throw hate at you. That's what they do. That's what these types of people do. Now, we're not judging those people except insofar as that they are in confusion. They are living in a confusion that makes them think that the body is who they are. And they are trying to do things to comfort the body at your expense. This is the meme that's going on in the entire planet. That's what a lot of these talks that you've been hearing are about. We are talking about how much corruption and greed and rottenness has festered into the society and the structure of civilization on Earth, in the governments, in the militaries, in the corporations, in the school system, in the financial system, throughout everything. There is this corruption, this molding that has occurred. Let's get out of the idea that this is a victim consciousness that we're going through. That's what I'd recommend. You do what you want. But this is how I've decided to live. I'm not going to be anybody's victim. I'm not going to be anybody's slave. I claim, and I ask you with me right now by your applause, to claim your freedom and your sovereignty in this moment. Let's have a hand for that. All right. If you can claim your freedom of positivity, your freedom from fear, that is the most threatening thing to the negative controllers in this world. Because this is a frequency war. The one thing they don't want you to have is a positive, loving feeling in your day-to-day life.